So the point I'm going to make for the rest of the presentation is that there are several very clear components that need to come together organizationally to make innovation into an enterprise capability. It takes leadership and structure. It takes processes and tools. It takes people and skills. And it takes culture and values. And the issue is we have to get it all right. If we take out one of those components, or we're only working on one of those components, the rest of it won't happen. Just like an engine. If I've got a gearbox and no connecting rods or pistons or whatever, the whole thing won't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at those 4 components for the remainder of this speech. The first of these things is leadership and structure. The point being that innovation at this level has to be driven from the top. We can all come up with ideas. I'm not saying that we can't. But if we're going to make innovation an enterprise capability, like we did with quality, like we did with customer service, or any other capability like lean manufacturing or Six Sigma, any of those things, if we're going to make it happen, it has to be driven from the top. If you think about Apple, we all know very well that the driving force for innovation at Apple is Steve Jobs. When he was taken out of the equation, Apple went nowhere. You put Steve Jobs back in, Apple takes off again. He is the driver, the leader. We had Jeff Immelt up on the wall a little earlier. The only answer for us today is innovation. What Jeff has done is he's not just talked about this. He has launched nothing less than a cultural revolution at GE. And again, GE is giant. I mean, it's a giant organization. What he's done is he has instituted all kinds of mechanisms and management processes and metrics and what have you for making innovation happen systemically. Just one example. Jeff has made his senior executives responsible and accountable for coming up with at least 3 what he calls imagination breakthroughs each year. And each one of those imagination breakthroughs must be worth at least $100 million in incremental revenue over the next 2 or 3 years. Now, I don't have to come up with that myself as an executive. I've got my business unit. I've got all kinds of... But the point is, in the past, people from my business unit were coming to me saying, I've got this idea, I've got that idea, I've got another idea, and I was saying, you know what, just let me get through the day, right? I've got to make the numbers, I've got to keep the budget, I've got to keep the deadline, you know, I don't want to rock the boat, go away. Now, as a senior executive at GE, I'm saying, I need to come up with these imagination breakthroughs. I've got to somehow find ideas that are worth like, $300–400 million of incremental revenue growth. Anybody got any ideas?